I'm gonna see if I can find that video where Jace talks about tier 7 rebalancing in general. For those of you who don't know, for update 4, we're gonna do a little bit of rebalancing in tier 7. Just because there's a bit too much grind, I guess, or how would you put it, Mark?
There's like multiple issues. Of course, we want to rework the nuclear stuff, and that's not because I think it's too hard, but we wanted to do more with it. We want to I think Tim already spoiled this. We want to do stuff with the nuclear waste, right?
Yes.
And that makes it so that this becomes suddenly a way bigger thing, and we need to kind of make sure that those things are properly balanced to each other. So we need to rebalance that, and also then the blender comes in, and we want to use that building to make the production lines a bit nicer generally. So that means, yeah, we just need to rework that part. And then for the bauxite refinement, we noticed a lot of people felt that they hit a wall when they got there, and that might have been partially because there's not a lot to unlock after that, so it feels kind of like you're doing all this work for no reason. But additionally, it is a lot of work to get that ingot production going for aluminium ingots, and there's a lot of refineries again. So we're trying to mitigate that by just making the numbers nicer. We're kind of keeping the same structure, so you will still need to have like this flow of going from alumina to scrap to ingot, but we're making the numbers a lot easier to deal with, and we're reducing the amount of refineries quite drastically.
All right, that sounds good. So I'm just gonna post in chat the link to the tier 8 video that we put out with where Jace and by extension Mark actually goes a little bit more in depth as to like what this means for you guys, because it will affect your save files if you already have, you know, tier 7 going and all that production going. And Mark gives his top 10 suggestions. I don't remember if you remember this, Mark. Your top 10 tips on what you can do right now to prepare for update 4, essentially. And do you remember the tips?
Do I actually?
Boy, do I.
Stockpile shit.
Yeah.
I think it was stockpiling stuff. Don't invest in the new stuff. I think that was it, actually.
Yeah, that was it. That was the top 10 tips right from Mark. You heard it right from the source. So essentially, just to clarify a little bit as well, we usually, when we talk about, you know, updating the game, we usually refer to the term like we break your saves. And when we say we break your saves, we don't actually mean that your saves won't load, as in like they'll become useless. It just means that, you know, the production buildings will still load and everything, but like, you know, if we change how a recipe works, that means that machine, why am I pronouncing like that? Machines that have like a certain recipe, if we change like the balancing of that, it will still load it up the machine, and it'll be like, oh, but this recipe now takes this, and if you're feeding it something else, it won't work. So that's essentially what's going to happen with your tier 7 stuff. So if you haven't reached tier 7 yet in your current save file, then you're going to be unaffected essentially when we release update 4. If you have reached tier 7 and you've started working on like nuclear stuff, you can still stockpile on parts and use those to remake your factory or refactor your factory. Or potentially like you can maybe rework, like a little bit, tweak it a bit to make it work. But it sounds like, as far as I know at least, I'm not 100% sure what the new, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot of new production lines, so to speak, as to how nuclear will work. So you might want to just mass dismantle that shit and rebuild it. Cool.